ladies and gentlemen, mostly just ladies because men hate me and I hate men. So welcome to my video. I don't know, I can't really like see properly what I look like because these contacts are like ripped because of my nails. So I don't know if you can see my fucked up liner. I tried to do winged eyeliner because I thought that shit was cool. But I don't want to wipe it off because then I feel like my makeup's gonna wipe off and I'm gonna have to like fix too much stuff. So what you see is what you get. I'm so sick of trying to do my hair because look, this one is like not doing its job, and then this one, you know, whatever. So first things first, I got a new tattoo. You guys already knew that, but I'm showing you what it looks like on my face. To answer your question, yes. Oh, look at me. I do plan on getting the red tattoo removed. I've actually been looking into it, but I'm waiting for my tax return to do it. Also, one of my lash, that lash is like stuck to the lid. Just not having a good makeup day at all. Anyway, so let's start this video. So I'm just gonna explain what this video is gonna be. So I know I did a story time called My First Heartbreak, and maybe I should turn this down. Yes, okay. So I did a story time called My First Heartbreak, and I kind of left out a lot of shit in that. And not only that, I ended up going back to that man after the video was taken. So I'm just gonna give you guys like a full kind of like story time of like how like my first love went and how my first relationship went. I'm gonna try really hard not to throw shade at any of the women that were involved in this story. But if I do happen to say something shady, I mean, I'm not really sorry, but like I'm not gonna try to do it. Like, this is not the point. My point isn't to shade the other women. My point isn't to be a little bitch and just like try to make this man look bad. You know, he does that all on his own really good. I'm kidding. Oh my god, see me throwing shit already? Okay. So yeah. So throw it back. I was 19. Yes, I was 19 when I met this man. Basically, throughout the beginning of the year, when I was 19, I was escorting. I was drinking every day. The pimps that I had been working with, or like not really pimps, they were like wannabe pimps, I guess. But I was working with them, and basically it was a really toxic situation. You know, like I was going through grieving my mom's death, and still, I mean, sorry, I don't mean to say still, you know, you never really get over something like that. But yeah, so they were pimping me out and I wasn't really getting paid in money. It was a really toxic situation. That's all I'm gonna say. I was just like getting drunk every day. Like, they would bring me bottles every day. You know, I was partying every day. Just a really messy time in my life. That's all I'm gonna say. So I'm going through my DMs or whatever, and I see that I have a message from this guy. And getting DMs from me back then wasn't like a normal thing, you know, because I had like no followers. I was just not, I wasn't there, you know. My head, like, I was just blackout drunk all the time. Let's just say that. Like, I wasn't really posting on social media all the time. I wasn't doing all that shit, you know. I didn't really have a lot of followers. Anyway, so I go to see my messages, and this man DM'd me. And I don't even remember what he said because I'm now 26. So I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said something about how I look good, and then I said, "You're cute," like some shit like that. And then we were talking for like a few days, and then he decided to come to my city and see me. trying to look cute, but it's like impossible when you're not cute. So he decided to come to my city and see me. So he comes out and he comes to get me at my house. I'm not sure it was my house or my best friend. That doesn't really matter, but he came to get me and he asked like, oh, like where should we go? Like obviously hinting at like a place we can go hook him in his car. So he took me to my old high school parking lot and we were talking or whatever. We went in the back seat. I ended up like going down on him or whatever. And then this is what caught me, okay? This is what made me think like, oh my God, like this man is like, yes. So I went down on him or whatever. And then after he was done like doing whatever, like, you know how it goes. I'm not gonna be really gross about it. He looks at me, he goes, well, are you gonna let me return the favor or? And I was like, damn, what? I hadn't really gotten head from like a guy that I was like seeing really in the past, except for like this guy that I didn't even date, which is another story for another time. It was really stupid, but other than that, the only other times I would get head is when I was working in a telly. But anyways, I ended up saying no because I was so nervous. I felt like I felt uncomfortable with someone going down on me, to be honest. Like it was just not, I wasn't comfortable with it. And then he went home. He came back and saw me again and we ended up having sex. Then we ended up getting into some argument about, okay, this is so funny, which is not really funny, but I lied to this man, okay? I don't remember what I told him I'd do with my life. I think I said I was in school or some shit. But basically we like started talking before I went to go inside my friend's house, my best friend. And we were talking about how many bodies we have, because I guess like at that time, like that was like a thing to ask people how many bodies they have. So he told me like 4 people, which I know now is super cat. And then I told him 9, you know, because I'm like, okay, I want to give a number that's believable, but I don't want to give a number that's like too low. I don't know. I just said 9. That was the word that came. I said 9. And then he kind of looked at me like he was disgusted with me, you know, like I was a hoe or something. So like he ended up texting me after he left, talking about like, or no, when we were in the car we started arguing because he was like 9, like it was some sort of big deal. So yeah, I went into the house, I got drunk or whatever, we argued over text. He called me crazy and I ended up smashing my phone. I don't know if I told you all this, but I do this thing when I'm like mad or like especially mad, like over like fighting with a guy. Not necessarily like a guy that I'm like talking to, but literally my dad too. If I'm like fighting with someone over the phone, in general, whatever, but it's usually guys who do it. But like I usually take my phone and I just smash it. Don't ask me why. I don't know who the fuck that helps, not me. But I ended up smashing my phone. And then like and then I got drunk or whatever, you know, what I always do. Okay, I feel like I'm doing too much detail of this story time. I need to try to lower it a bit. All right, so that happened. Then he kept on coming back, and eventually we got to a point where he was spending every other weekend at my dad's. So he would spend the whole weekend with me. He would take the go bus down. This man lived an hour away. He would take the go bus down, and I guess I don't know if my dad actually liked the guy or if like he was just happy to see me happy. But my dad would let him use my dad's car to go out wherever we wanted, you know. He was supposed to be sleeping in the guest room, and for the first few like times he slept over, I would sneak out while he was sleeping and go sleep in my room because I don't like sleeping with people. it's just a no for me. And like I have a really big fear of farting in my sleep, and I wasn't trying to do that because like, you know, I don't know that man that well. I'm not saying that I do fart in my sleep. I don't even know what the fuck I do in my sleep. But yeah. So he's spending like every other weekend with me, and I'm just gonna point out all the red flags as I'm telling this story. It's already 10 minutes. I'm gonna cry. Okay. So red flag number one. Red flag number one. He took me out to Boston Pizza near my house, and we were out having dinner or whatever. And he holds my hands across the table, and he looks at me, and he goes, gosh, I'm really gonna miss this. And I was like, what? He's like, I'm really gonna miss this. He's like, cause it was like, we met in April, so this was around like March maybe, or April, March. So he was like out of school. He's like, when school starts back up, I'm not gonna be able to see you anymore. I don't date during school. I'm not allowed to. My parents don't let me. And the me now would have not gotten up on the spot, but would have left that situation because, like, why do I want a little summer fling, you know? So that was red flag number one. Red flag number two. Why was he only coming out to see me every other weekend? What was he doing on the other weekend? Okay, and then while we're talking in our like little talking stage or whatever, he's telling me about his ex, like, oh, like my ex, like I showed my ex to you, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, first of all, your ex, like, what do you mean? Like, why are y'all hang out? Like, what's the deal? He's like, oh, we work together. She actually got me this job at where I work. And I was like, he's like, yeah, we have lunch every day. But let me remind you, this is my first ever, whatever it was, the closest thing I've ever had to a relationship. This is the closest thing I've ever had to a relationship. So I kind of let that slide. I didn't really think anything of it, but that was a red flag thinking now. And then basically fast forward, everything's going smooth, you know. He comes out every other weekend. We sleep in the same room. We have sex, which was, and I think this is the reason that I stuck around for so long, is because the sex was amazeballs. Okay, when I tell you this man has the nicest wiener, and he eats cats, when I tell you this, we had a playlist to fuck in his car, the hot tub, you know, in the bed, in my like guest room at my dad's house, all that shit. He made a playlist to eat my cat to, you know, all that type of shit. Anyway, so fast forward all that shit, and it comes around where we get into a fight because something about, oh, okay, so he told me that he had chlamydia before. We were just randomly talking, he brought it up, and I said LMFAO, like, because I'm sorry, I thought it was funny. I'm so sorry. It was funny, okay? I was just said like, LMFAO, oh my god. And then he was like, I don't think that's funny. It hurt or whatever, like, whatever. And then we got into a fight. He's like, I don't think I want to be with someone who's gonna laugh over my health problems. And I was like, okay. Anyway, so we got into a fight, and then he decided from that point on that he was just gonna like keep it like casual, like not text me every morning and night, good morning baby, good night baby, like all that shit, you know. So he basically said it was like over until he went back to school. So I was like, okay. And I remember this one time too, he came over and he had a bunch of hickeys all over him. I'm talking like his stomach, his neck, his like shoulder area. And my stupid ass believed him. This is what the man said when he came over. Before he came over, actually, he texted me and said, baby, or babe or whatever, he said, I woke up with a bunch of red marks all over me. I don't know what it is. And I was like, you just randomly woke up with a bunch of spots that look like hickeys. And then he was like, yeah, babe, like, I don't know what it is. I swear to God, like, I'm not lying, blah, 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 blah. I swear on my family, like, you know, like typical men always say. And he comes over and I see these spots and I'm like, and I just believed him. I really believed him. I was like, oh, wow, like, you woke up with this? Like, that's wild. And then, 15 minutes in. Okay, and then after that, sorry, the timeline of this is just, like, so messy, like, because it was long. So basically, we're sleeping one night in the guest room, and, okay, wait, before all this, throughout, like, the whole time, basically, I would always try to go through his phone, you know, because something's fishy. Like, I'm feeling something's not right. And even though he made it clear that we weren't in a relationship, he also made it clear that I wasn't allowed to fuck anyone else and that he wouldn't fuck anyone else, you know? And also throughout this whole thing, he would take me out to dinner, you know, lunch, breakfast. We would do cute activities like take naps on my trampoline, wrestle on my trampoline, like go for walks, go to the park and lay in the grass. Like, I don't know, a bunch of cute shit. So here I have this man feeding me all these kind words, doing all this stuff that people do in a relationship and telling me that it's not a relationship, but he's doing relationship things. So obviously I'm sitting here thinking, you know, even though he doesn't say we're in a relationship, I feel like I'm in a relationship. So anyways, I would keep going through his phone or like trying to, and every time he caught me, he would like lose his shit. Like literally he'd be like, why the fuck are you going through my phone? Like, that's my personal stuff, da 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 da. Like, why do you do this? And then he'll act upset, and then we'll literally just like argue it out, and then have makeup sex, whatever the fuck. And before we met, I ended up going like a little viral, like maybe, yeah, a little viral on Vine, because me and my friend at the time recorded a video of me giving head. And like, I guess that wasn't like a thing back then, because that's not like, hoes now are like, oh, so out there and like everyone's sexually liberated and shit. So yeah, I went over viral for that. And we're in my city and we go to Walmart, and tell me why some random guy that I went to high school with stops this man while he's on his way out and ends up telling him that I'm a hoe, I'm a prostitute, I'm this and this. He didn't really pay any attention to it. He didn't really ask me any questions. He just kind of like shrugged it off. Anyways, another thing is, this man was a complete stoner, and when I tell you, he's like, he's not like he like, when he gets stoned, he like acts really weird. Like a funny weird, you know, like he would laugh a lot, like just like sitting there smiling at like nothing all the time, you know. He would post Snapchats with me too. That's why I wasn't so fishy, like so like questioning it or whatever, because we would take snaps together and post them, you know. I was allowed to post him on social media too. So I'm like, well, obviously he's not seeing someone behind my back because he's posting me. Boy, was I fucking stupid. Anyway, so he would get high all the time, and this one time he got really high, and I went to the bathroom, and he was curled up in a ball, just like crying in the shower. I'm not sure what that was about, but it was kind of weird. And then, the final thing okay, so we met in the beginning of April, and then I think it was around August, the beginning of August or the end of July, where I ended up going through his phone while he was sleeping. I like made him put the fingerprint in. I either made him put the fingerprint in or I memorized his like password, and I go through his phone, And honestly, what I think he was doing was deleting everything before he came to my house. Because tell me how every time I went through his phone, like, there was nothing, like, conversations from, like, a year ago or so. So I decided to check Facebook Messenger. You know, I'm like, oh, maybe there's something here. And I see messages of him and this ex, and they're talking, and they've been meeting up. And not only have they been meeting up, but he's calling this girl beautiful, saying he loves her, da 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 da. And I'm like, oh, another thing. Near the end of this, he started to tell me he loves me. And we would be in bed, and he would be like, I love you. And, like, I wouldn't say it back, because honestly, for me, saying I love you, like, I really have to, I really have to mean it. And I didn't really feel it, so I wasn't going to say it. So, he was like, I love you. And, like, he would be like, oh, why don't you ever say it back? I'm like, because I don't know what to say. Do you want to make an appearance, buddy? So yeah, I go through his phone, and then while he's sleeping, I take the phone and I whip it at him, okay? And he wakes up and he goes, what the fuck, what happened? And then, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You're fucking cheating on me? Like, you're da-da-da-da, you're seeing your ex behind my back, da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, I tried to break up with you, like, I tried to cut you off or whatever, and you wouldn't let me. Which is true. He did try to break things off, you know, and I was so, like, into him that I didn't want him to leave. Like, you know, I was willing to stick around through whatever happened, like, whatever dumb shit he did, and put up with basically whatever. So, oh, wait, the best part, he gave me chlamydia during those time, twice. Actually, so I guess when we weren't talking, like, we would get into little fights. When we weren't talking, he slept with somebody else. Anyways, he comes over and he has to take the medication, and he had, like, some problem with swallowing pills because he was, like, puking but still taking them. And then he tried to tell me that I gave it to him, which is impossible, because on my entire life, on my son's life, I never ever talked to nobody behind his back. I never looked at nobody behind his back. I never slept with anybody behind his back. So he gave me chlamydia once, actually, during that time. And then we ended up getting into a huge fight because of the whole him hanging out with his ex. And then he came back to see me the weekend after, and he basically said his goodbyes. He was like, you know, like, it was cool knowing you, like, I'm not saying goodbye forever, but it's goodbye for right now, like, whatever. And yeah, so anyways, let's get back to the night where he cheated on me with his ex. So basically, after I seen the messages, I threw the phone at him. He woke up. I started, like, screaming at him, basically. And then I literally, like, went into the bathroom, and oh my god, y'all, the way that I was bawling my eyes out, like, I was so hurt, like my stomach hurt, like, I felt like I was gonna puke, like, I felt like my whole world turned upside down, like, I was like, god damn, my life is really over now. Like, it was crazy. Like, I called all my friends, and then I called my one friend, and, like, she was like, dude, hit him. Like, that's not, I'm not condoning hitting other people, or domestic violence or whatever, you know. I did end up hitting him, but this is what happened. We were talking, and I was just explaining everything, and I was, like, saying, like, oh, you cheated on me, like, da-da-da-da-da. And the whole time I was trying to talk about it, he was standing there in front of my face, laughing at me. Like, I'm over here bawling my eyes out, broken hearted as fuck, trying to talk things out, and you're laughing in my face. So yes, out of all that anger and everything, I did take a swing at him. I did hit him in the face, and I'm not sorry. I'm sorry that I'm not sorry. But I felt in that moment, it was definitely, I don't know, you know? I wouldn't hit a man nowadays, but back then, like, you know, hi, Muffin. So I ended up kicking him out of my house. And as I said, like, he would take the go bus to my place, so he basically had nowhere to go. It was like 3 in the morning. Mind you, my entire family is sitting downstairs. Not my entire family, but my brother, my uncle, my dad. And after one of our fights, when he specifically said we're not together, I hooked up with my ex, or like the first guy that I ever like talked to or whatever. I just wanted to see, like, you know, like, okay, he was like a rebound, and I wanted to see like if he was still like interested in like talking to me or whatever, so that I could use him. So I invited him over and I had sex with him or whatever, but I kind of snuck him into my house. So like, while me and the guy, like the guy I'm talking about right now, were arguing, I ended up screaming while he was walking outside. I was like, oh, well, I fucked my ex last week and he actually made me come. And my dad and my uncle and my brother are in the fucking kitchen just listening to all this. And my dad ended up calling out to me and said, Chelsea, he was like, who was that came over last weekend? And I was like he was almost kind of... But anyways, he goes out. Well, he's out. He bought a new pack of socks, and I ended up burning a hole in every single sock in the pack. Every single pair of socks in the pack, and like the heels of them. I think I ripped a few shirts up, tried to set a few shirts on fire, just typical stuff. Then yeah, he ended up coming back the next weekend, ending everything with me, like saying goodbye. Then I went online. I went on his Twitter and tell me how him and his ex are together every day. Oh, you want attention? Sorry. He's grabbing at me. Him and his ex are together every day. They're tweeting about hanging out, tweeting about how much they love each other, da 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 da. Not really, but like, you know, being all cute or whatever. Not cute, ew, but you know. So, out of spite, I grabbed all his stuff that was at my house. I messaged my girl. I was like, hey, like, let's go out. Can you come get me? She comes and picks me up. We go to this little, like, party in my city. And before we go inside, we take what he says was his favorite shirt. And I basically set it on fire outside on the street. And then my best friend peed on it. We took a video of it. And like we took a video of like us putting all this stuff in like a little thing and just setting it all on fire or whatever. And then I sent a video to him. It's already been 27 minutes. I haven't even said like half of stuff I want to say. Okay, I'm gonna try to put this more together. Okay. So after that happens, you know, he's calling me crazy, you know. Honestly, I was on Twitter every day just talking about how much I want to like disappear, like, you know, like, if you guys watched Euphoria season 3, was it? No, season 2, wherein Cassie, like, went through her little, like, breakup thing with, Nate. The way that she was literally how I was after this situation. Like, I would walk around my house with, like, a knife and, like, just, like, scream, like, oh, I want to disappear. I hate everyone. I don't know what I'm going to do, blah, blah, blah. So a few months go by. I decided to go back to school. Okay, after I got my little heart broken, I decided to go back to school. So I signed up for adult school. Started going there. And I guess my way of trying to get over him, or this is how I tend to like deal with a lot of things, was to sleep around. So any man that I would meet, or any man that would hit me up, I would literally get them to come get me, they would bring me back to Toronto, Saga, wherever, in the GTA, and I would sleep with them. I honestly want to say within the first couple months after we ended things, or he ended things with me, I slept with maybe like 50 different people. I was sleeping with everyone, like literally I was sleeping with guys and their cousins. I was sleeping with men and their best friends, like group of friends, were like running trains on me. Like I was wilding the fuck out, and I had no feelings involved whatsoever. Like I could go to your house, you could bleep the shit out of me, I would go home, you could never contact me again, and I was like, don't care. So I get a phone call. I'm sitting on my couch. About 2 months later, I get a phone call. Okay? And I recognized the number, and I was like, wait, there's no way this man's calling me. So I answered the phone, and it's him. And he goes, he's talking about how his friend wants me or something, and how he's living with his friend because he got kicked out. And then he was like, I want to come see you. Honestly, I've missed you. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I was trying to seem like hard to get, like, you know, I was trying to like play it off. And then I kind of like gave in because like I did miss him and like, whatever. So, okay, wait. No, this was in October. So, September. Yeah, so like 2 months. And then after apologizing to me and all that and telling me that he misses me, he goes, I have something to tell you, but I don't want you to get mad. So I'm like, what? I'm like, what's up? He's like, so my ex is pregnant. And you know what my dumbass said? I said, oh, that's fine. Come over. So he comes over. We end up spending the whole Thanksgiving weekend together at my dad, because my dad like left me alone. Because my dad left me alone, and we had the house to ourselves for the Thanksgiving weekend, and we were watching like movies and stuff, and like I'm just like sitting there thinking about how he's gonna be having a kid with another girl. And I'm just like, you know, like when I think about this man, I kind of think about like our future, and like, you know, I was thinking like, you know, if like I want our kid to be like his first kid, you know, like I was just thinking about the future. So then when he left, I texted him and I was like, I don't think I can do this. And then I was talking to my friend, and she was like, what are you doing? Like, you won, you have him, like, what's your problem? And I was like, shit, you're right. So I started messaging him, and I'm like, wait, I take it back, like, I want you, like, let's be together, blah, 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 blah. And then he messaged me and said, this is why I dumped your ass in the first place. You don't know when to shut the fuck up. So we stopped talking again. Then we started talking again. Not like talking, but we were like having conversations, and he was supposed to come see me the following weekend. And so when I was going through this little heartbreak, I was crying at parties like a little bit. So I went to my friend's house because she was having a party, and one of them, hey, I wasn't friends with her, but she was part of the same friend group as me, kind of. Like, we would hang out with all the same people. So she was basically like a mutual friend. But she had listened to me vent about this man. She had seen me, like, I had shown this man to her, you know? And tell me why, after like a bit after that, I go and see social media and they're following each other. And I messaged her and I was like, hey girl, like, do you mind like unfollowing him? Like, that's my ex. She's like, oh, that's your ex? Like, yeah, no worries, I'll unfollow him right now, say less. And then I find out that they started dating. So that following weekend that I said he was gonna come see me, he goes to see her, and they're dating. And a part of that I forgot to mention is while we were talking to each other the whole time, you know, he would do this cute little shit where like he would take me to the mall and be like, here, go buy yourself something. Like he would buy me like not like expensive things, you know, I don't really care for all that shit, but like he would buy me like Calvin Klein underwear and like bras or whatever the fuck. He bought me some lingerie. He would buy me movies, CDs, because my dad didn't have like a Bluetooth speaker in his car. The amount of times that I fucked to Nothing Was the Same album, ridiculous. But anyways, he bought me like a Nicki Minaj CD, like all that stuff. We bought horror movies that we could watch together. We would have these days where we would stay in and watch movies and order pizza to ourselves. Like he would have a pizza, I would have a pizza. And anyways, I noticed that he was doing the same things with her. And like we had this thing where like our love language was like roasting each other, like roasting the fuck out of each other, you know, just calling each other ugly, you know. I remember this one time, like we were sleeping and like I woke up and he's staring at me and I was like, what? And then he's like, nothing, I just realized just how goddamn ugly you are, you know. But it was like fun little like it was like fun little roasting, you know. Like I would call him a stupid bitch, like, you know, he would call me fucking ugly, you know, whatever. It was just, that's how we talked. And that's how he was talking to her. He was doing the same ass shit, giving the same ass energy, doing all the same shit with her that he was with me, except he asked her to be his girlfriend. I never got that label. Okay? So I did everything in my power that I could to end this little relationship. So I would like freak out on Twitter all the day. I would like at this girl, just like, you know, saying the most, like just we would just go back and forth, whatever. And then like, you know, I tried to explain the situation to one of our mutual friends, and she was like, she said something like, oh, like, why would he like want to be in a relationship with you? Like, you don't have anything going for you. Like, you have you don't go to school, you don't work, blah blah blah. Why would he want to be with someone that's not going anywhere? And you know, I kind of just felt like that's kind of true, so like maybe I should like start doing something. Anyways, so I ended up messaging one of my hoe friends, and I told her to follow him, start flirting with him, whatever. They started like talking over message, but like it was me getting her to do it, so he didn't know that. And she would send him booty pics and everything, and he was kind of like giving in. Like they talked about meeting up. So when I got enough like screenshots of like proving that he was like being trifling or whatever, I ended up tweeting it at her and like putting all the screenshots. But oh fuck, there was something that I missed. What did I miss? Oh, when I did find out that they were together, I was drinking at my friend's, and I had taken my bottle of clonazepam with me. And you know, I was drinking, like I was bawling my eyes out. Like I honestly, like the things he was saying to me online, like the things he was tweeting, he was like, oh, like this bitch is crying because she got her heart broken, like nobody gives a fuck. And then he was texting me stuff like, me and my girl sitting here laughing at you right now. And it was like, it was really hurtful, you know. So I just like, next thing I know, like I took like the whole bottle of my clonazepam, I was chugging vodka, and I woke up the next morning strapped from head to toe in a hospital bed in a psych ward, obvi. So apparently I had gotten so fucked up that night that when my dad came to pick me up, I decided to go and literally play in traffic. I went and laid in the middle of the street trying to get cars to hit me. What the fuck? So not only that, my dad was freaking out, screaming at me, talking about grow up, like it's just a guy, like, why are you acting like this, da 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 da. I'm like, he broke my heart. And then I guess when I went to the hospital, I tried to fight one of the nurses who was trying to take me to the psych ward because I kept talking about how I want to not be here. And I ended up taking my tongue ring out and stabbing myself in the arm with it and trying to cut, you know, where I'm going with it, trying to CUT myself with it in the arm. So I wake up, my feet are strapped to the bed, my hands are strapped to the bed. You know, I'm like, what the hell happened? So the nurse ends up coming, and this is bothering me. The nurse comes and she unhooks me or whatever, and then I guess I just started banging my head as hard as I could against the glass door. You know, on some real fucking crazy shit. So then I finally got out like a bit after, and I checked my phone, and well, my friends were mad. My dad was pissed. She explained everything to me. Like, she was like, oh, you were just laying in the middle of the road. Like, your dad was screaming at you. You took a whole bunch of pills. Blah. I'm like, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, and after this, I got the girl to start talking to him or whatever. And then I exposed it, and then they got into a fight, but they did end up back together. So it didn't really work. So after the relationship played out, I went and I hit him up again. And I'm not sure. Oh, while they were dating, I found his brother on Instagram. Okay, I found his brother on Instagram, and I liked, this is how I would shoot my shot back then. I would just like all their pictures, and then they would DM me. Simple. So I liked all his pictures. He DM'd me. We started talking, you know, and then at the time, my dad had just started dating his girlfriend, which, like, they now live together and everything. So my dad was always at her house, and I was always home alone. Always. So his brother came over, and we went into the guest room, and we had some really, really, really good SEX. I don't know if it runs in the family, but god damn, they have some big ass wieners. And he eats some good ass cats. So I take a picture of him in my bed, passed out after we had SEX, and I sent it to him. And then I think he said some shit like, don't message me, like, leave me alone. And then after that, we made up. We met up again, and we talked about it. And he was like, I told my brother that he could come sleep with you. But he said, but I regret it. Honestly, it kind of hurt me. So I was like, okay, I think I got somewhere. Then we were arguing again, you know, fighting over whatever. We link up again, and I don't know, he was just really going back and forth between me and his baby mom. And he was messaging other girls too. And I know this because I went and searched the girls that he was liking all their pictures and following, and I tried to friend them up. So a few of those girls that he was, you know, trying to hit up, trying to fuck, whatever, are now my little online friends. You know, I would message them and I would be like, hey, like, has this man messaged you? And they're like, oh yeah, like, whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, well, like, that's my ex, like, whatever. You know, I was being crazy, but I wasn't beefing them. I just friended them up. I'm like, whatever, like, these girls seem cool. But, so then it was just a constant cycle of him like fucking around with me, fucking around with his baby mom. I fucked his brother. They had the baby. He wasn't really, okay, this isn't my business to tell. Let's not say that part. Okay. I ended up getting a man when I was 22. At 22, I got a man, okay? Before all this, like during this whole time, I was still kind of meeting up with him. I went back to work. I met this man because he had offered me a ride home. We ended up clicking. At first, he tried to pimp me out. He ended up catching feelings for me, and he didn't want me to have anything to do with the telly. I'm not getting into detail about this person because I think he is the biggest waste of space, but that's that. So while I was dating this man that I had met, I actually cheated on him with my ex. So my ex came to my city, you know, we hooked up in the telly, cause like, you know, my dad's house wasn't free anymore. We got like a little ratchet ass telly, we spent the night together. We drank a bit, and I took a video of me on top of him, just like, you know, like playing with his chest or whatever. Kind of for insurance purposes, I'm not gonna lie. Kind of because I wanted some memories with him, because after he cut me off, well, I ended up deleting everything, which I regret, because honestly I looked super cute in the pictures we had taken. That's the only reason why. I'm ending this right now though, because I'm gonna put a part 2 because this is going too long.